Assalamu alaikum. This presentation is based on Chapter 14, Conflict and Negotiation from the book Organization Behavior, 19th Edition by Stephen P. Robbins and Timothy A. This work is presented for the course of Organizational Behavior at the Institute of Education and Research, University of the Punjab, Lahore. I'm Fakhira Perveen, an MPhil Education student. In this video series, we will explore how conflict arises in organizations and how negotiation helps. And negotiation are central topics in organizational behavior as they directly affect how individuals and groups interact, make decisions, and maintain harmony at work. Conflict is inevitable in organizations, whether it's between individuals, teams, or departments, but how it's understood and managed determines whether it becomes constructive or destructive. According to Robbins and Judge, conflict is a process that begins when one party perceives that another party has negatively affected or is about to negatively affect something that the first party cares about. In simple words, conflict happens when someone feels that another person's action, decision is hurting or might hurt something important to them. Negotiation, on the other hand, is a process of communication where two or more parties try to reach an agreement about different goals, interests, or perceptions. In this chapter, we should be able to understand several key concepts. These include identifying the types and sources of conflict, explaining the conflict processes, and understanding different conflict handling styles. We will also learn to compare distributive and integrative bargaining, applying the 5 steps of the negotiation process, and understand how individual and social factors influence negotiation. Organizational behavior conflict is not viewed as something that should always be avoided. When managed effectively, conflict can encourage creativity, improve decision making, and strengthen team relationships. However, when conflict is unmanaged, it can lead to hostility, low morale, stress, and poor performance. Model. It is a case of strategic negotiation. To better understand effective negotiation, let's look at real-life example known as the Merkel model. Angela Merkel, Germany's first female chancellor, is widely recognized for her calm, rational, and strategic approach to conflict and negotiation. Within a background in science, Merkel relied heavily on analysis, patience, and careful observations rather than emotional reactions or power displays. Her leadership style shows that successful negotiation is not about dominance but about understanding the situation deeply and responding thoughtfully. We will focus on types of conflict and understand how conflict develops in organizations. Conflict is not one single phenomena, it appears in different forms and levels. Understanding these types helps managers and leaders decide how to respond appropriately instead of reacting emotionally. Conflict can be classified into functional and dysfunctional conflict. Functional conflict supports group goals and improves performance. It encourages new ideas, critical thinking, and better decisions. For example, teachers debating different teaching strategies can lead to improved learning outcomes. Dysfunctional conflict, on the other hand, harms performance. It creates stress, anger, and weakens relationships. Personal clashes over power or recognitions are common examples of dysfunctional conflict. Conflict and performance curve. Research shows that too little conflict leads to stagnation, while too much conflict results in chaos. The best performance occurs at the moderate level of conflict, where people feel comfortable expressing different views but still respect each other. This model clearly shows that conflict is not always bad, it simply needs to be managed properly. Three main types of conflict in organizations. Task conflict. It involves disagreement about work content or goals. When managed well, it can be beneficial. And relationship conflict. It is based on personal dislike, emotions, or tensions. This type is usually harmful. Process conflict. It relates to disagreement over how work should be done or who should do it. Research suggests that task conflict may be useful, but relationship and process conflicts are generally dysfunctional. Conflict mean the places of conflict from where the conflict originates. Conflict can also be understood because based on where it occurs. Direct conflict occurs between two individuals such as a teacher and a principal. Intragroup conflict happens within a team or department. Inter-conflict occurs between different departments or groups. A small amount of intra-group conflict can be healthy, especially when trust exists within the team. Video will talk about the conflict process, stages, and conflict management techniques.